What performs better during periods of uncertainty? Is it gold? Or is it silver? Or maybe it's something else? Well, let's find out. During periods of uncertainty, supranational currencies such as gold, silver, platinum, and palladium, and also certain cryptocurrencies tend to perform better than national currencies. That is a given. But between gold and silver, which one should perform better during times of uncertainty, especially modern times of uncertainty? Well, to answer that question, we have to look a bit at history, right? If we look at the history of gold, until very recently, we had a gold standard. We didn't have a silver standard. We had a gold standard. That means money was backed by gold. And we moved on to this gold standard in the 1800s, the late 1800s, backed by this coin. Mainly backed by this coin. This was the world's reserve currency. And the world reserve currency was the British pound in the form of the sovereign. Now, the sovereign, I believe, was first minted in 1887. I could be wrong. I looked around and that was the first date I could find for the sovereign in this form. The modern day sovereign was 1887. And back then, we already moved off a silver standard that was prevalent during the Napoleonic times. So before the gold standard was established in the 1800s, we were on a silver standard. And that's why many European nations went to war with China to get silver. That was pretty much it. So in the 1800s, we moved to the gold standard, and gold and the gold sovereign became the world reserve currency. And we've continued to use gold since then until today as a normal currency that is not attached anymore to any nation. Now, we also consider silver today as money. But for many of you, you might think that silver was used since the 1700s. It must have been considered by many as money. That isn't true. Silver for a long time was considered as almost a base metal that you struck coinage out of. It was great for coinage and other uses. I mean, we put it into photography and we threw it away. So obviously for a long time, it was not considered extremely precious, despite being a precious metal. It was considered, the second grade type of gold. It wasn't really considered a currency. It was officially made into its today's currency trade marker in 1978 when they normalized all supranational currencies. And in this basket, which is under the ISO number 4217, you can look this up, which was implemented in 1978, they took into consideration 4 different types of precious metals to be put into this basket of supranational currencies. Amongst them, obviously, there was gold, which was already in place, and that has a ticker of XAU. Then you have silver, which gained the ticker of XAG. You have platinum, which became XPT, and you have palladium. I don't have a palladium coin to show you, but palladium is XPD. Now, to give you a bit of perspective of the importance of this is that for a long time, almost 100 years, silver was not used in its sort of weight form and as a silver commodity, as currency. Silver was turned into bullion form only very recently. The earliest modern day bullion that we have like this, or like the silver eagles, I have a tube of them here, was in 1982 in the form of the LIBERTAD. And for other currencies such as platinum, it was in 1988 with the Australian koala, so by the Perth Mint. All right, let's see if we can get focus on this. So both silver and platinum and all these non-gold currencies that are put into this multi-precious metal basket, we can call it a multi-precious metal standard, the ISO 4217 standard, is very recent. And you can see that it only occurred after they've established the ISO 4217 standard. That means that silver came out in its bullion form in 1982 and platinum 1988. So these two items are relatively young. Now, if we look at the historical context of gold and silver relative, let's just look at gold and silver for now. I'll talk about platinum near the end. Gold and silver. Gold during times of uncertainty, especially in the early 19th century until today, performed better than silver, which was extremely volatile. And I think part of that is explained in the way that prior to 1978, silver was not considered money. Like today we're thinking like between silver stackers, we're saying, yeah, it's crazy, silver is money. But I think before 1978, I'm almost certain that people would have thought you as crazy if you told them that silver was money. They will tell you that gold is money. During the Bretton Woods era, prior to the Bretton Woods era, they would tell you, yeah, gold is money. Our dollars are backed by gold. It's money. And they will tell you silver is industrial metal. That's why it doesn't perform the same as gold during periods of uncertainty prior to the 1970s. If you look at how silver performed previously, it tended to really perform like an industrial metal. When the demand goes up, the price goes up. When demand crashes, it goes down. And it followed a very similar pattern to the economic cycle. And it was not, I would say, it was not detached from the economy. But what about today? What does it look like today? Because historically, gold consistently outperforms silver during times of uncertainty. I don't have to, it's not just me saying this. If you look at the numbers, during any time there's a recession, there are more cases of gold outperforming silver in those cases. Well, I've been looking at more recent information, like recent data of how silver and gold perform. And since 1978, we haven't had so many recessions, okay? We had the 2000 stock bubble. We had, I think, the 1987 stock market recession. We had the 2008 crash. And you also have to think that silver as a currency, it takes time for a new type of currency to be accepted. And we have to remember that silver introduced as a global currency as XAG only happened in 1978, right? And the first bullion coins were made in 1982. And the first bullion silver eagles, I believe, was in 1987 or 88. So, and they were not striking a lot of them. So these were not massively in circulation. You couldn't buy silver bullion very easily back then. So I would say that in the 1980s, you can already discount silver as a hedge against any type of uncertainty because it was not adopted yet as a currency, even though the standard existed. And if you look at anywhere later, let's say the 2000s, it still wasn't widely adopted. But did it change later? I think it did change somewhat later because if you look at the 2008 recession, silver and gold performed almost very similarly in terms of how they reacted to uncertainty. Does it mean that silver is purely a monetary metal? No, silver still has industrial demand. We know that. But I think silver is actually going on the path to be adopted as more as a supranational currency. And this brings me back. Do I think in the future that silver will perform better than gold? Well, that's hard to say. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if this time, due to uncertainty and precious metals perform better. You see that I mentioned precious metals because I think that if you buy the whole basket of the ISO 4217 and you sort of balance your basket into the equal valuation of all the different metals in that basket, I think you'll be protected against uncertainty. I can't tell you what ratio you should be buying because because for every single person it'll be different depending on how much risk you want to take on. But I think ultimately that basket will perform well. I think different elements within that basket between those four supranational currencies, that means that XAU, XAG, XPT, and XPD, you will have different performances between the four because essentially they are somewhat different. They're very similar, but also different. Some tend to have more industrial uses, such as platinum and palladium, which, despite being part of this basket, it is very it's rarely used as a bullion. I've looked at the bullion numbers for platinum and palladium. You're not even close to what's been struck for gold and silver. I mean, platinum, you can find it under, I think the total amount that's been struck in type of coinage form, there's less than, I did the tally, I think it was less than a million ounces of investment bullion platinum coins. That's crazy. That means that it's not widely adopted. It exists and people do buy it, but it's not, the investment demand for platinum is very low as a hedge against inflation. So that's something to think about. Currently, it's still low, but potentially could grow. So do I think that silver will be in lockstep with gold or outperform gold? Possibly. The reason why I think that from this point on is history said otherwise, that gold tended to perform better. But history also says that silver for a long time was not considered as a monetary metal. I think at least during the future sort of recessions that we'll see coming, it will be mainly between these two metals. That is, silver and gold performing similarly, and silver having slightly more volatility because it is still partially an industrial metal. I think in the very long term, there will be a time when silver will no longer be, it will be majoritarily considered as a monetary metal rather than an industrial metal. There are many, why do I say this? Well, if you look at how the two metals are treated by many governments, you can see how one is treated more as money and the other one is treated more as an industrial product. The way I look at it is this. Right now, there are more than, I think, most countries, except for Estonia and some states in the US, tax silver with VAT, value-added tax, which means that silver in the eyes of still many public institutions and governments and institutions that can trade silver, they don't consider this as money. They consider this as a industrial metal, but a precious metal that potentially could be money. There are many markets that are adopting silver as money. Do I think one day it could become money? Possibly. One day Bitcoin could be considered as money between governments, maybe. But you never know. Is gold considered money? Yes, gold is considered money. Do I think that you should hold a lot more silver than gold? I can't say that. I think you should hold both. If you're going forward, I think that you should try and hold a basket representative of the ISO 4217. Because during times of uncertainty, you don't know which one will perform better, but you're pretty sure that anything in that basket should perform well during times of uncertainty. That's my take on it. So to come back to answer the original question, which one will perform better in a recession or in times of uncertainty? I think starting from here onwards, because you'll hear a lot of gold proponents tell you that gold is the only way and you're wasting money on silver. I think that they are historically correct, but they most likely could be wrong. There's a high chance that they will be wrong this time, because in the last recession, we saw, and following the recession, following the economic recovery period, we saw silver behave more like a monetary metal. That means that until 2011, it was performing like a monetary metal. It was gaining ground relative to uncertainty. And once demand took off, it actually dropped. So that for me is a signal that silver is actually behaving more like a monetary metal starting from 2008, 2011, you're starting to see it more as a monetary metal, and gold too, still as a monetary metal, but specifically then it was behaving much more like a monetary metal relative to how it was behaving previously, which was it was behaving almost purely like a industrial metal. Do I think platinum will perform? Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. I think platinum prices right now are rock bottom. That's what I think platinum is, because there is just no industrial demand, and there is industrial demand in sort of the petroleum synthesis sector, but in terms of catalytic converters and transportation, where the majority of the demand was, it's not there. It's not going to be there. Or it could come back a little bit if people start buying new cars, but I doubt it. After this recession, people are going to buy new cars. People might move on to electric vehicles. People might move on to other modes of transport. I think platinum, though, being rock bottom, it's going to hold. That's why I'm picking up more platinum. I think that it won't gain as much as the other metals, but it is a way to store your money in long term and to hold it steady in platinum, because the thing is, if it's steady and it only moves slowly with inflation, becomes a better hedge against inflation than silver or gold. I think silver or gold are more hedges against currency risk and currency uncertainty. So that's my approach towards these three different types. And really, I think that the age of gold being on the gold standard is over. Do I think that going onwards we'll go back to a gold standard or a silver standard? No, but I think we will have the emergence of supranational baskets, which is baskets of currencies made not tied to any nation. And I think within that supranational basket of currencies, we're going to see a mix. That means that we'll have two baskets that will appear. We'll have the ISO 4217, or no, we'll see in one major basket under ISO 4217. And within it, you'll have all the precious metals. And then later on, what we might have added into the ISO 4217 is the cryptocurrencies. That means that we will have XBTC, XETH, and XLTC. And that will make up what we could call a supranational basket benchmark that governments might use as a reserve currency, which contains different cryptocurrencies, different commodity-based money, and also maybe even their own issued cryptocurrencies. That's possible too. So yeah, that's my take. So what I think you should do, I think that you should hold a bit of everything. Because uncertainty means that we don't know, and you don't know what will do better. It's not a time to go all in on anything. Don't overstretch your finances, like I say, and enjoy the stack. Enjoy the process of buying a little bit at a time. That's why I also love buying fractional gold. I like silver because it's affordable. I like platinum right now because it's so cheap to get a 1 ounce coin of platinum. The only thing I wish they had was fractional platinum, but I can understand that because there's a lack of demand, you can't. It's not cost efficient to make fractional platinum. But this stuff, yeah, fractional gold, old gold, no premium on it. You can buy this for melt value. Old sovereigns, right? Older sovereigns, they're not that old. Older sovereigns, over 100 years old, they have no premium on them. It's ridiculous that you would pay a 1/10 ounce silver gold eagle and pay a humongous premium on it. For me, I don't understand why. That's a bit confusing. These are still accepted by banks. They've been accepted for hundreds of years by banks. They will still be accepted by banks because what is the currency is the gold content and not the mint mark. So that was what I wanted to say for today. Thank you for watching. Tell me what you think. Write a comment in the comment section. Click the like button. Help the video out. I think right now we've got a small sort of a community kind of going. People are talking. I am a stacker. I like talking to other stackers. I like talking to other coin collectors. because I don't know everything and I'm in the process of learning this. I think many of us want to share things we know, and many of us can learn from others who have maybe more knowledge than us. So write a comment, share your experiences, share how gold, silver, platinum is treated in your countries, and yeah, and enjoy the journey. Stay safe. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Silver Dave out.